Hey guys, welcome aboard to this week's cruise chat. I am going to be meeting with Lesa from Lindblad Expeditions, and we are going to be looking at some of their really amazing brand new ships. So we're just going to go right over to that episode and dive right in. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard to this week's cruise chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Plenty of Sunshine Travel, and today I am joined by Lindblad, and I have Lesa here today, and I've had the pleasure to meet with her one other time. So I have playlists for all of the cruise lines that I meet with. So when we're done all of this, because we've got some really exciting things to talk about, go back and look at that playlist because we did a really great brand overview, and I think it really gives a highlight of what is Lindblad. So I'm pretty excited about today, and I'm just going to turn it over to you because I cannot wait to learn about these new ships. So over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathleen. And I know that you were just in Iceland, right? So you were up looking at some vessels and some experiences, and you saw one of our ships in Iceland.
I did indeed. Yeah, she was docked in Reykjavik and looked absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't get over it. I'm like, I wish I could plan, like I just mentioned to you as well. I wish I planned a ship tour because I would have
Yeah.
loved to got personal pictures inside.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize she was going to be there, but absolutely gorgeous. It was just stunning. And I was kind of envious. I thought she looked so pretty.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about her today so you can see what you missed out on. And next time we'll make sure we get you to see her when you're in port. But, and I know last time you and I had such a great chat about how our history plays into how we deliver an expedition experience today and how that makes us different. And we kind of touched on the points that we do all 7 continents. I think that this word expedition has been picked up by so many different kinds of ships now. We were the very first small ship expedition company, right? We took those first guests to Antarctica and to the Arctic and Galapagos, and well, particularly Antarctica and the Galapagos in 66 and 67. And a lot of people don't realize that we have grown over those years to now encompass so many other amazing places. And it means that our ships are a really kind of cool mix of different sizes because we don't do cookie cutter. We have ships that are specific to the places they explore because those areas are different. They have different challenges. They have different water depths. They have different ways of approaching them. So when you look at our ships, you're not going to find this one style that is pervasive. You're going to find all these wonderful little vessels that are specific to the region. And, we have great ships that are Lindblad National Geographic, and those have those National Geographic name on the side. It's because of that brilliant alliance. But then we also explore some of the rivers on the planet. And we do that very uniquely on some really cool smaller river boats. And we're not going to have time to go through all of these today because this would be a couple of hours if we deep dived. Right. But I just do want to point out, look, we do the Jahan on the Mekong, which is absolutely stunning. The Delphine too, which is only 28 guests on the upper reaches of the Amazon. And that is a remarkable cultural experience, as well as just understanding life on the river and the wildlife. The Lord of the Glens in Scotland, the rivers and lochs and Inner Hebrides of Scotland. And then you've got the Sea Cloud and Sea Cloud 2, which are stunning, true sailing vessels that do places like the Dalmatian coast, the Greek Isles, but then next year, Italy, Slovenia, and Croatia. So some really cool ways to approach those countries. And then we have 2 ships in Egypt, the Oberoi Philae and the Sun Goddess. So they provide you with a wonderful, if you're wanting to try expedition and the way we explore the world, they're a nice soft entry point into what most people expect expedition to be. So I just keep those in mind.
I love it. Now, I love the names of it because you can just, by hearing the name, you know exactly where they're going to be sailing, right? And
right.
That's super cool. So not only is it, decorated and have the right depth, as you were saying, but even right down to the name, like it's all purposely thought out.
And they're stunning ships. But the ones that we own and operate are like the National Geographic Endurance and Resolution. It's one of those ships that you saw in Iceland.
Yes.
And we were just chatting a minute ago about, we were the very first small ship expedition company in the world. We created this genre, and it was based on Sven Lindblad's experience as a photographer in Africa, bringing those safari-like tools and putting them on a boat, right? So bringing photography onto ships, bringing morning and afternoon game drives, but how do you do that on a ship? Well, you use zodiacs, sharing that underwater world, because 50% of what you want to experience is beneath the ship. So if you haven't got access to that, you've missed a huge component of your experience. But bringing all those tools, bringing guest speakers, lecturers, ornithologists, botanists, marine biologists, putting teams of people on board that can kind of extrapolate and explain what you're seeing makes a huge, huge difference. And so at the very heart and soul of who we are a safari on the ocean. And if you think of it this way as well, if you go on safari, you're usually looking for that bespoke little safari camp, right? Maybe under canvas, maybe, but always small, because you want to be in small numbers to approach wildlife. And that's a big differentiator for us. Our biggest ship is 148 guests. And I think it's really important as you look at expeditionary travel to understand that size is extremely important. Intimacy of size, keeping those ships smaller, being able to access the places we go is really, really important. And if you look at us as an investment in access,
right,
that's how you should look at small ship expedition. The bigger the ship gets, the more people, the more you have out in the field, which has an effect on wildlife viewing and all the other kind of roll-on components of that. So just understand that when you're looking at a very small ship like we offer, it's that investment in the access and the investment in the experience. So we kind of talked on the fact we've spent about $500 million on new ships in the last few years. And so I thought we'd share one of those new ships you saw up in Iceland, which was the Endurance or the Resolution. And these have that stunning new technology, which is that pointy nose, and that's called an X-bow. And the X-bow is designed to be able to cut through a wave. So instead of riding waves up and down like this, which we all adore, these ships cut through the base of the wave, making it a much more smooth ride, less shudder on the ship, more fuel efficient, and just so much easier to see wildlife. Because when you're standing up there on the bridge, you look straight down the nose. So if there's penguins or polar bear or anything, depending on where you are, you're going to have the ability to see them so much easier.
I love that. Oh, wow. That's incredible. I thought it was like, simply just for cutting through the ice, which it is as well, but so much more than that. That's
right.
More. Yeah.
Right. And look, she's a PC5. So there are other technologies for icebreakers. That's a very different kind of ship because they're there to get into old ice. These ships are designed for newer ice, to cut through the newer ice, and they are remarkable at it. They can live in the ice all year long. And it's just when you're on them and you're going through, it's nearly without sound. It is just amazing. But the other thing you'll find when you get on our ships is all the light and the windows. You are not going on an expedition ship for a moody interior with closed walls. Wherever you are on our vessels, you can see out of them. The whole design is that the outside is what is important. That's why you're there. That's what you're investing in.
Absolutely.
So like in our lounge, you see this glass everywhere. So if we're sitting down, because guaranteed, as soon as we sit down to a meal or a talk during our recap, that's when something decides to pop up and say hello.
Murphy's and I found that when we were in Alaska, we're sitting there and she goes, oh, that's a whale that just jumped. And she said it very loud because she was excited, and didn't everybody in the dining room rush over to the windows to see, right? Because that's what you're there for. You want to do that. Yeah,
exactly. And you'll also notice on all of our ships, Kathleen, we do our recaps in the evening in the round. So we have this central area where our expeditionary team stands and lectures, because this is not a lecture, it is a conversation. It is people being able to talk to each other, talk to our expedition team, talk to each other about what they've experienced on that day, and share. And so this is much more conducive to that sharing feel than, someone standing at the front in a more formal lecture style. Dining on board, these two new ships, the Endurance and the Resolution, have a stunning dining room. Pretty much everyone is on a window seat. It's all sustainable cuisine. It's local, it's fresh, it supports local farmers. That's a big thing. Money goes back into the local communities. You have a secondary dining area upstairs with things like truffle fries and amazing, hamburgers and more pub style foods up there. But then you have this glorious chef's table, and all of our guests get a chance to be at the chef's table during their trip, and that's a 7 or 8 course meal with paired wines, and there's a story to it. Like in the Arctic last year, the story was the Northern Lights, and so there was a particular meal that included a clarified tomato soup with all these beautiful vegetable powders. And as the soup was poured into the bowl, it created the northern lights in the soup.
Oh my goodness.
So
Food is artistic. That's amazing.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But I think that people sometimes think they hear the word expedition, they don't understand the depth we go to at every aspect of the experience to bring in the story, and that's really important to us. But she has a lovely library. There's we dumped across then, a lovely library that's forward facing, this beautiful relaxation area here. You've got a science hub. You've got 2 glass igloos on the back deck. Now, these are booked on board. There's no additional cost. And if you are in a top suite, you do get first pick at those. But you go to sleep in these, wake up in the morning, our team bring you out coffee or beverage of choice, and you just get to see this remarkable scenery from your bed. They frame 2 stunning jacuzzis, infinity pools on the back deck. And there's just so much deck space. But on top of that, you've got a spa with a wet and dry sauna, a yoga studio. There's masseuses on board. And then you've got all of these stunning ocean view staterooms. So you've got, of the 76, 59 are balconies.
Perfect. Look at that. Wow.
And all of your solo guest rooms are balconies too. So we have dedicated solo rooms on all of our ships.
I love that.
Yeah. So, these are gorgeous vessels. Now, you and I actually kind of talked about this earlier. Once again, on that intimacy of size. Yeah, you're not going to find a 2,000 square foot suite on a Lindblad ship. And there's a reason for that.
Right.
If you do that on your ship has to be bigger to accommodate. And then when it's bigger, it can't get into the places that we want to poke around in. Right. And so it's finding that delicate balance between the luxury components and the quality and the level of space internally to the space we can give you outside. And I think that's really, really important. But these ships do everything from down in Antarctica with our Antarctic Peninsula. They then do trips that take you all the way up and into South Georgia and the Falklands, right, which is all about those huge numbers of king penguins and the history of Shackleton and Scott and Amundsen and how they explored these regions on ships that certainly weren't anywhere near as advanced as what we're taking down there now. And then they head up to the polar regions, right? They're in Norway, coast of Norway and Svalbard. They come down and do the east and west coasts of Greenland. There's very much a cultural component to some of these, right? Particularly in Greenland and Canadian Arctic. We do the Northwest Passage. We have multiple itineraries in that place that you've just been to, Iceland. We do a full circumnavigation, which is stunning. Yes, we do an Iceland, Greenland, right? So lots of options.
And there are no better waterfalls than what's in Iceland. It's just, I'm sure that there are in other places, but having just come back, it's fresh in the brain and it's stunning. It's just so beautiful. And to go all the way around the island, that's phenomenal.
And it's so diverse, right? And as you would have seen, you have it's very different depending where you are, and to be able to access it from the water and see some of the more remote regions is really quite remarkable.
Several locations that you can only get to via water.
That's right.
You can get at them in a car. So the best place to explore Iceland is on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Galapagos, we had 2 ships down there for quite a while now. We were the first company into Galapagos in 67, but last year in August, we introduced the National Geographic Islander 2. This ship is stunning. It's only 48 guests. This is a luxury point in the Galapagos Islands to explore from. She has the most remarkable dining room. Once again, all that glass everywhere. But she also has this beautiful little cafe on the back deck that will seat all 48 guests. All of the space inside, once again, open to the outside. So you can see those blue-footed boobies or red-footed boobies or the green sea turtles outside the windows. You've got the opportunity to be able to sit in the recaps and hear from our team. And there's always enough screens that everyone can see what's going on, see any presentations. There's a dedicated mud room. So in Galapagos in particular, and this is also available on those 2 new ships we talked about for Antarctica and the Arctic. But in Galapagos, you leave your wetsuit here, your flippers, your goggles, all of that's provided complimentary, your life jackets. You come back, there's dry towels and beverages, and it's just a wonderful first step back onto the ship after a day of exploration. You can take advantage of the pool upstairs, or there are hammocks, and these are my favorite place on the ship. You pull up a hammock,
Yeah.
Yep. Get a
I can see
frosty
that.
beverage.
Oh goodness. And can you imagine us laying in there and just seeing a whale breach? And oh, that would just be amazing. Wow. That'd be
Yeah. So, beautiful staterooms. There's 550 square foot
oh,
suites on here, the Islander suite. So you've got these lovely big spaces for your bedroom and your more of an entertaining area. And then the bathrooms are just absolutely gorgeous. With that soaker tub and the rain shower. And then your normal suites on this ship have the rain shower, the beautiful bathrooms, and those lovely big rooms, all with big picture windows. But you're out all day exploring it. You nearly feel like you're wasting your time in your room because they're just so stunning. And of course, always this comes with that exemplary expedition team and those amazing hotel teams that are there to take care of everything you need. And the Galapagos is so diverse. I mean, we do have a second ship there, which is a little bigger in number of guests, 96 guests. But you are exploring all of these islands, and every one is different topography, different flora and fauna. And so you really do need to invest time in Galapagos to move with the ship at night while you're asleep and wake up somewhere new to get the most of the different aspects of the wildlife, right? From those marine iguanas to, once again, that undersea world you and I spoke about, all the marine life that you're going to get the chance to see. So for Galapagos, we have a shorter program, our Wild Galapagos, and our longer Galapagos program. And you can add on to those with the Amazon, or you can add on Machu Picchu. So there's great ways to build on your experience once you're there. And then I think the last two I wanted to kind of touch on that are brand new builds for us were in Alaska. And this is the Venture and the Quest. And these two little ships are just a delight. I love sharing this slide because this puts it in perspective. So you've got two nice big ships down there, right? Do you see the teeny weeny little one in the middle?
I do, yes.
That's us.
Perfect. Yes. So you can get to all those nice little spots that others just can't. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we really don't see other people when we're out. The whole idea of the Quest and the Venture is that they are focused on being in those small waterways, being as close up to the wildlife as possible, being able to track a bear along the coast. And they're so quiet that you can basically be 100 meters off the coast and that bear really doesn't know you're there. And yet she has stunning little staterooms. She has these gorgeous balcony suites with either a queen or two singles. She has bigger suites upstairs for triples. She has connecting rooms for families, dedicated solos. But once again, a lot of thought has been put into these ships. The bow on this ship is very particular because for Alaska, a lot of it's photography of wildlife, and you can all stand up here on a railing and have access to what you're seeing. Like you've got 3 different tiers here of where you can stand. And so just thinking of that, making sure, once again, all that glass, the amazing dining opportunities, it really is about the thoughtfulness that has been put into these ships.
Yeah, you can absolutely see it. That's incredible. I went to Alaska twice last summer, so 2 different cruises. One was a larger ship, one was a small. What a huge difference. On that larger ship, you're trying to get a picture of the Hubbard Glacier and you've got other people walking right in front of you because everybody wants to see it. Yeah. And there's just something about having your own spot on the railing. And I think that that's a perfect way to do it. And it's definitely the way to go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, I mean, those are the new vessels. We've got such a great breadth of ships, but once again, as you know, it's not cookie cutters. So as people look at us for different destinations, it's about understanding that ship is there for a reason because it fits where it's going. Right. And that's really important when you're doing expedition. And look, we go to so many other places. I mean, we kind of touched on the fact we're back in Japan, which is absolutely spectacular from a small ship, getting into those smaller islands, more of the cultural component. And you get a day in South Korea. And South Korea is such a different experience than Japan. And so having that one day to get over there and experience what the Korean culture is about and the history, New Zealand, the sub-Antarctic islands down there, the 2 islands of New Zealand, the Kimberley region of Australia, and then all the way up into the South Pacific, the Komodo Islands, the culture of the Asmats. It really is the diversity of destinations. I think that's the most important people to understand. I'm going to leave it on that slide there because I just love that. That's an atoll in the South Pacific that was taken with a 360-degree camera by one of our expedition leaders. You can just see the Orion sitting at the top there in the center. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Wow. The world is so vast and you can learn and enrich yourself so much by getting to these spots that you just, there's no way that you can get there unless it's on a small ship and you get there properly. And just, it's better for the environment by coming with you guys because you're so conscious of that with your small ships. And it's just amazing. Oh, goodness. It's fabulous. If anybody would like any information on any of these voyages that we talked about, please reach out to me, info@plentyofsunshinetravel.com. And I will definitely get you all the information that you need to get on board because it is just phenomenal. It's amazing. And I might even have to create a group and go with everybody because that would just be great too.
And that would just make our week. We would love to have you on board, Kathleen.
Well, thank you. I hope everybody has a great week and we'll see you guys next week, guys, or on board. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's cruise chat. It was really nice to meet with Lesa and to look at some of those wonderful, wonderful ships. It is just amazing how they are all designed specifically for the areas that they're visiting. And I think that that's really, really amazing and important. You want a ship that can, navigate through those waters, but also that are really designed and set up so that you can explore properly, which is why we travel. We want to be able to get into the heart of the areas and we want to be able to travel. Next week, I'm going to be meeting with MSC and I am looking forward to that. I know I've met with them, I think only 3 other times. So it's really nice to meet with different cruise lines and to be able to see some of their itineraries and to learn together what makes it different, what makes each one unique. And what makes each one into where you want to travel with them to go to specific destinations. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you remember to subscribe to this channel, and if you found any value, make sure that you've subscribed and you've hit that bell. I also have the Cruising the Waves podcast. So if you really want to listen to these on the go, by all means, head over to Cruising the Waves podcast and download all of our episodes. You were on all the favorite streaming channels, and you can just download it and listen to us at any time. You don't need to be bound to a device with a camera or anything to see it. It's strictly audio, so it's good for on the go. I hope you guys enjoyed this week, and I will see you all next week or on board. Bye for now.